Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming OCS exams happening in May 2024. My name is Nick. I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for OCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. This is going to be a short session compared to the previous three webinars which we have conducted so far. So first things first, I'm going to take you through the examiner's comments because as I've been mentioning within the past webinars, it's of utmost importance that you understand what's expected from you. It's better to understand the mentality of the examiner. So with this objectives in mind, I will be taking you through examiner's comments, and in the second part of today's webinar I will be talking about what you need to do to develop a higher level of confidence, because if you're confident about your skill set, then you are well poised to play the role of a finance officer. So with these things in mind, I will be covering these elements. So before we get into the nitty-gritties, let me quickly remind you about the upcoming workshops which we have scheduled for you. So in the first two workshops, these are primarily Q&A sessions. So by now, you should have started attempting mock exams. So, when checking your performance as well as checking whether you have attempted mock exams, I can see that 4 to 5 students had already attempted mock number 1, which is extremely good, which indicates that you are adhering to the study plan, and according to the study plan you are supposed to attempt mock number 2 within the upcoming week. So after attempting each mock exam, you will definitely have questions or concerns, and you can raise these questions or concerns at these weekly workshops which we are conducting. Again, these are conducted free of charge, so make use of these free resources which we provide. So in the first two workshops, whilst it is open for a Q&A session, I will also take you through different questions covering different syllabus areas, especially focusing your attention towards P1 and F1 related syllabus areas, because it's of importance that you understand how each of these syllabus areas are tested at your OCS examination. So that's what's covered within the first two workshops. And in the third and final workshop, which happens 2 or 3 days before your examination, I will be providing you with last minute tips to ensure that you walk into your exam with a positive mindset. And I hope you'd make use of all these free resources which we offer. Okay, so let's try to figure out what's expected from you by sticking to the examiner's comments or taking you through the examiner's comments. So tips for good answers. So if you are to be ready to develop good answers, you need to develop answers which are totally aligned to each and every requirement highlighted within each of the tasks which are thrown at you at your real exam. So relevance is of utmost importance. Most students miss the bus when it comes to this area, especially given the fact that since you are under exam stress, students do not, read through the question or the requirements fully, or there's a tendency for students to miss out or misunderstand the requirement. If you do not understand the requirement fully, then you are not in a position to gain full marks which are allocated for each subtask. So with this in mind, in the third webinar, answering technique, I mentioned the fact that you need to reiterate each requirement in your own words, in a concise form, before you start developing the answer plan. So if you are in a position to practice these elements which I covered in the third webinar, thereby after reading through a certain subtask, after reading through a certain requirement, if you reiterate it in your own words, in a concise form or in a simpler format, then you are in a position to really understand what's expected from you when looking at each and every subtask. So with the intention of fulfilling the first requirement or the first need, I've highlighted what you need to do in the third webinar. And the second point is you need to, when developing your answers, you need to show to the examiner that you possess an appropriate level of technical knowledge. And not just technical knowledge, you need to also apply that knowledge when developing your answers. So that's exactly why I said you need to work on your theoretical knowledge as well as application skills. So again, in the third webinar answering technique, I explained answering and time management techniques. And after explaining these techniques, I mentioned how to develop an answer plan by taking you through the answer plan which we have provided for the free mock, which we have already shared with you. So whilst taking you through this answer plan, I explained how theoretical elements are brought in. And just because you write highly theoretical answers, you're not going to play your job or do your job appropriately. Instead, you need to make sure that you utilize your theoretical knowledge. However, considering the information presented in each scenario when developing answers, you have to apply your theoretical knowledge. So if I'm not mistaken, I took you through a question pertaining to variance analysis in our answering technique webinar. So when taking you through this question, I highlighted how to bring in theoretical knowledge pertaining to variance analysis, but it's not just about bringing in theoretical knowledge, it's about applying your theoretical knowledge, considering the information presented in the scenario, thereby coming up with answers which are totally aligned with what appears within each and every scenario. So with this, with the intention of fulfilling these two requirements, I want you guys to stick to our study plan and attempt a mock exam per week. If you do so, you'd cover the entire syllabus because you'd be conversant with each subtask or how each subtask covers theoretical knowledge. So all these things are going to be extremely beneficial for you to improve your technical knowledge as well as application skills. On top of that, if you watch our master classes, you will easily learn theory and improve application skills, because as you already know, when developing the master classes, our objective was to make sure that you understand the logic behind each answer provided for each and every task covered within each of our 5 mock exams. On top of that, our objective is to teach you theory and ensure that you understand application skills. So in order to get these two elements right, you need to attempt the 5 mock exams and watch the master classes. And on top of that, the examiner tells us that you need to develop well-structured answers. So that's where answer planning comes in handy. So that's exactly why I covered these elements in the previous webinar. Answering technique, I explained how to develop answer plans, and based on these answer plans, I explained how we are supposed to expand your answer, or in other terms, how we are supposed to type out the fully fledged answer in paragraph form. I said you are not supposed to provide answers in bullet points or single lined sentences. That's exactly what the examiner is telling you. The examiner wants you to structure your answers appropriately. And if you had spent some time to plan out the answer or structure the answer, then you know what to type. And when it comes to expanding this answer plan, you are supposed to come up with answers in paragraph form. So all these elements were, as I mentioned earlier, covered within the third webinar. And on top of that, if you are bringing in some type of an argument, you have to back it up with appropriate justifications. It's highly unlikely that you'd have to come up with recommendations or carry out or conduct arguments. However, whenever you are facing a question to do with KPIs, then you need to not just suggest a KPI, you have to not just recommend a KPI, you have to back your recommendations with appropriate justifications. Or in other terms, you have to recommend justified KPIs. So if a KPI related question is thrown at you, your justification skills or evaluation skills will be tested at your exam. So all in all, if you are to develop a good answer, what are you expected to do? You have to come up with answers which are totally relevant to the requirement. With that in mind, what are you expected to achieve? You are supposed to reiterate the requirement in your own words in a concise form before you start developing your answer plan. And when developing your answers, you have to show to the examiner that you possess an appropriate level of technical knowledge as well as application skills. So that's exactly why you need to focus on developing answer plans. Spend some time to understand the requirement and develop the answer or structure your answers. Because if you're spending some time to plan out your answer, then you are in a position to cover theoretical elements as well as work on your application skills. Again, these elements can be improved significantly by attempting the mock exams which you have developed and watching the master classes. And you are supposed to provide well-structured answers. So stick to our answering technique. And after you have an answer plan at your disposal, when expanding your answer, use paragraphs. And whenever you are suggesting or recommending KPIs, you need to back up your recommendations with appropriate justifications. All right, so before the exam, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to study all areas of the syllabus. So as I mentioned earlier, you are not supposed to leave out any syllabus areas, simply saying that it will not be tested at the OCS exam. Instead, your objective should be to cover all areas of the syllabus. This is not easy. So with the intention of ensuring that your life becomes easy, we have, when developing the 5 mock exams, we have made sure to cover the entire syllabus. So if you attempt the 5 mock exams under exam conditions as per our study plan, then you are fulfilling the first requirement. So before the exam, that's exactly what you are expected to do, because you have to get accustomed to exam conditions. Because as I mentioned in the third webinar, when you are under exam stress, nothing goes right. Okay, when you're under exam stress, you might panic. Panic leads to brain freeze, and if you're experiencing brain freeze, you can't do anything. You are trying to come up with an answer, but you cannot think. You are trying to read through a scenario, but nothing goes into your head. So it's better to experience all these problems before the exam when conducting your preparations, rather than at your real examination. So that's exactly why the examiner wants you to study all areas of the syllabus and practice mock exams under exam conditions, so that you are fully ready, or you are accustomed to exam conditions. And when faced with exam stress, you'd know what to do or how to react to overcome this exam stress if you attempt each mock exam under exam conditions. And again, you have to work on your application skills. So with this in mind, we have suggested that you attempt the 5 mock exams under exam conditions, and on top of that, watch the master classes, because the Cima examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. You are playing the role of a finance officer. So if you come up with highly theoretical answers, you are not going to satisfy the needs of your managers. Instead, when developing answers, you need to utilize theoretical knowledge. Yes, that's true. But when developing answers, you need to consider the information presented in the scenario. If not, you're not going to get any marks for application. And you are, before the exam, you are supposed to practice tasks. So that's exactly why I said you need to attempt mock exams. If you attempt just 1 or 2 mock exams, you are not in a position to fulfill the first requirement, which is to study all areas of the syllabus. So if you are to cover the entire syllabus, and if you are to ace your answering and time management techniques, and if you are to manage exam stress appropriately, then you have to, it's of utmost importance that you attempt the 5 mock exams under exam conditions. I'm not asking you to do this. It's actually the Cima examiner who is asking you to achieve these objectives. And take time to type or write full answers. So what are full answers? When attempting mock exams, you need to sit in one place, allocate 3 hours at a stretch, and have a go at 4 tasks at a stretch, because that's exactly what you'd do at the exam. So rather than attempting mock exams on a task by task basis, just like in your real exam, you have to attempt 4 tasks in one go within 3 hours, or else you will never get accustomed to exam conditions. Why am I saying these things? Because it's not too easy to sit in one place for 3 hours and do something, especially when you are under exam stress, and nobody loves to keep practicing mock exams. You can watch a TV series for 3 hours at a stretch because you are enjoying. You won't feel the time running out, or you won't be under pressure actually. But when preparing for an examination, it is a stressful scenario. So in order to get accustomed to how you are supposed to manage these 3 hours, because when you sit in one place and try to attempt a mock exam, you'd be totally fine within the first 1 hour or 1.5 hours, but beyond that point, you'd feel stress setting in. You'd feel that there are certain you are experiencing some type of stress. You'd feel fatigue. So it's better to encounter these things so that you know what to do, or else, because if you feel these or if you're facing these problems for the first time at your real exam, then you won't pass the OCS exam. So what are you supposed to do before the exam? Study all areas of the syllabus with this in mind. Attempt the 5 mock exams which you have developed, and with the intention of learning theory. Watch our master classes. You have to focus on your application skills. Again, how are you supposed to improve your application skills? By attempting the mock exams under exam conditions and watching the master classes. And you are supposed to practice tasks under exam conditions, thereby typing or writing full answers. So you have to attempt full 3-hour papers under exam conditions. You have to work on your answering and time management techniques. If you keep practicing these things on a weekly basis, then you can get all these right at your real exam. And during the exam, what are you supposed to do? Again, the examiner highlights that you need to plan your answers. So if you practice answering technique before the exam, when attempting each of your mock exams, you will get this right, get these techniques right at your real exam. So I've highlighted answering and time management techniques in my previous webinar. Just because you watch it, just because you learn these techniques, you are not in a position to implement them in a practical sense without practicing them. So if you practice them, then you can get it right at your exam, because the examiner, before you type out your fully fledged answer, the examiner wants you to plan your answers, or in other terms, develop answer plans. So get this right. In order to get this right, you need to practice answering technique, and the marker is under strict instructions to mark answers on their merits. So just because you are providing lengthy answers, you are not going to get any marks. You are not going to get marks based on the word count. I've seen so many tutors out there saying to gain this amount of marks, you need to have this amount of words within an answer, which is not the case, because as per the examiner, the marker is under strict instructions to mark answers on their merit. So the examiner is picking quality over quantity. So how can you fulfill the quality related aspects? Make sure to get your answer plans right. So as per what I highlighted in the third webinar, you are supposed to allocate, out of the 45 minutes allocated for each task, you are supposed to allocate 5 minutes to read through the question or read through the scenario. Then you need to allocate 20 minutes to develop the answer plan. And once you had planned out your answer for the entire task, then utilizing your remaining 20 minutes, you are supposed to simply expand the answer plan. So you need to keep practicing these things. And from mock 1 until mock 5, if you practice answering and time management techniques on a task by task basis, then you are practicing these techniques 20 times over, because each mock exam carries 4 tasks. 4 tasks into 5 mock exams comes up to 20 tasks in total. So if you are attempting all 5 mock exams under exam conditions whilst practicing answering and time management techniques, you are going through the same techniques 20 times over. That's enough and more practice for you to get it right at your exam. If so, you will come up with high quality answers, well structured answers, which cover the theoretical elements. You can work on your application, and on top of that, you will never run out of time at your exam. Additionally, you will be in a position to understand what you need to do to overcome exam stress at your examination. So that's what the examiner is telling us. Speaking a bit about marking criteria, 2 markers will allocate marks before the final mark is finalized. So I've seen so many students after getting their results, they are asking about remarking. Remarking service is not provided by Cima or any other professional body which conducts a professional qualification. Why? Because when 2 markers are marking your paper, it's a highly transparent process, and on top of that, the marks allocated by these 2 markers are averaged out before your final mark is finalized. So if there are major discrepancies between the marks allocated by each marker, then your paper will be remarked to figure out why these marks are all over the place. So it's highly unlikely, it's actually unlikely that you'd get marks which are, you won't score marks appropriately based on your performance. That's not the case. 2 markers are marking your paper. So in such an environment, the marks which you get are 100% accurate. And mark allocation for each subtask appears as a percentage under each requirement. I highlighted these things in the third webinar, answering technique. So when developing your answers, I said that you need to really understand how many marks or how much marks are allocated for each subtask, and based on the mark allocations, you are supposed to determine how many answer points need to appear within your answer plan. So for instance, each task carries a total mark allocation of 37.5 marks, and if a certain subtask carries a weightage of 50%, then half of 37.5 marks will be allocated for that subtask. And based on the mark allocations, since each valid point carries 2 to 3 marks, you are in a position to determine how many answer points need to appear within your answer plan. Okay, so all these things were highlighted in a practical sense in our third webinar. If you missed it, it's of utmost importance that you watch it to learn these techniques. And after learning these techniques, you need to keep practicing them in order to get it right at your exam. And the marks are allocated based on merit. The examiner picks quality over quantity. You're not going to get marks for the length of your answer. Instead, you're going to get marks for the quality of your answer. How can you fulfill the quality requirements by getting your answer plans right? Okay, so having said that, let me quickly highlight what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the OCS page. You can click on this button and check the free content. So you'd gain access to the recorded versions of all webinars and workshops which we conduct via the student dashboard. And on top of that, you will also gain access to the free mock which we have developed. We have developed a full 3-hour mock which is exam standard and pre-scene specific. So I hope you would have already gone through it. And on top of that, you'd gain access to the suggested answers of the same mock exams as well as its answer plan. And this time we have given you access to the exam platform where you can attempt the free mock under exam conditions whilst practicing answering and time management techniques. So you will gain access to the exam platform which we provide for premium package enrollees. So utilize these free services or free resources at your disposal. So if you're yet to attempt the free mock under exam conditions via our exam platform, create a free account. Click on this button and create a free account. And once you had created the free account, you'd have dashboard access. Go to my courses and click on OCS free. I have this extended list because I'm the admin, but you'd only have access to the OCS free content. Click on it and you can see 4 different tabs. The videos are on this, and the study material, you'd gain access to the free answer plan of the free mock, which can be downloaded by clicking on this button. And you'd have access to the free mock, the question as well as the answer. And on top of that, by clicking on this button, you can gain access to our exam platform and practice the free mock under exam conditions at the same time, practicing answering and time management techniques. Okay, so all these things are available under the free content. And if you are interested in investing on paid content, check our sample material before you decide on purchasing either of the packages which we offer. And if you are yet to join us on our OCS WhatsApp group, click on this button and join it. So talking about the 2 packages which we offer, first things first, I like to take you through the value pack. This is designed for students who had completed their Cima OTQ exams or those who are coming through the Cima general route. Since you had completed your E1, F1 and P1 related OTQs, you need not learn theory. And since you have already completed your OTQs, it appears that you are conversant with self-study and you have some type of discipline when conducting studies on your own. So if you are such a student, simply go for the value pack. The value pack comes with recordings of all webinars and workshops which we are conducting. And it also gives you access to the 5 mock exams with suggested answers, as I mentioned earlier, when developing these 5 mocks, we have made sure to cover the entire syllabus so that you won't encounter a question which was not covered within our mock exams at your real exam. And this comes with pre-scene analysis videos, 4 videos in total, which will help you understand what's covered within the pre-scene document without any doubts. And you'd also gain access to the annotated pre-scene, the industry analysis and financial analysis slides. So this is what our annotated pre-scene looks like. As you can see, this is the same pre-scene document which is shared by Cima, but we have come up with tutor annotations, thereby bringing out the most important points which are highlighted within the pre-scene. So once you read through these annotations, you can easily understand what's highlighted within your pre-scene document rather than having to remember hordes and hordes of unnecessary information. And on top of that, as part of these annotations, at the same time providing a summary of the entire pre-scene, we have also highlighted probable exam scenarios which can be tested, as well as probable syllabus content which can be tested. So this is what our pre-scene analysis typically annotated pre-scene typically looks like. Then you would also gain access to financial analysis slides. So you would have seen already that at the very end of your pre-scene document, you have access to the financial statements of your company. So each financial statement, we have evaluated them. And when conducting these evaluations, we have kept things simple so that you can easily understand what's highlighted within each financial statement. So that's exactly what you can see throughout this document. And at the very end, a ratio analysis has been conducted, and each ratios, again, we have evaluated them, yet we have kept things simple so that you can easily understand what's highlighted within these set of slides. And you'd also gain access to industry analysis slides under the value pack, and it consists of 4 main elements. We have defined your chosen industry. We have highlighted the dynamics, the main dynamics concerning the competitive landscape of your industry. We have also highlighted the industry trends, and at the very end, real world examples concerning 2 real life companies are provided so that you better understand what happens within your chosen industry. So these are the type of resources which are at your disposal if you go for the value pack. And this also comes with top 10 likely issue slides. These slides indicate the most probable scenarios which can be tested at your examination. And you'd also gain access to a case study familiarization kit, access to a tutor managed live chat, and OTQ revision cards. So since you are supposed to be involved with self studies, if you go for the value pack, since you do not have access to the master classes, after attempting a mock exam, if you feel that you were not too successful when attempting a certain question, for instance, if there was a question about linear programming within the mock exam, and if you feel that your answer was not up to the required level of standard, then simply go through the revision cards which were provided to brush up your knowledge concerning the syllabus element. Because since you have already learned theory, you just need to brush up your knowledge or revise your theoretical knowledge when preparing for your OCS exam. So the value pack is priced at £199. And talking about the premium package, this is designed for students who are coming through the exemption route or those who had failed the OCS exam previously. Both sets of students have the same problem, that is about a lack of theoretical knowledge as well as application skills. So focused on ensuring that you improve your theoretical knowledge and application skills, we have developed the premium package. So the premium package comes with everything, all different types of resources which are covered under the value pack. Additionally, you would gain access to the online mock exam platform. So we have developed a mock exam platform which is totally akin to the Pearson VUE system which you'd use at your real exam. So when attempting each of our 5 mock exams, you can do it under exam conditions via our exam platform. So you'd have a time on it, access to the pre-scene document, access to a scratch pad as well as a calculator, and there will be a separate area to type out your answer. I hope you would have already attempted the free mock exam via the exam platform. If so, you'd know what our exam platform looks like. You'd know that it's totally akin to the exam platform which you'd use at your real examination. So the objective of giving you access to an exam platform is to ensure that you get accustomed to exam stress when conducting your preparations, and on top of that, you stand a chance to practically practice answering and time management techniques when attempting each of your 5 mock exams. So this benefit is provided under the premium package. Then you'd also gain access to one-on-one tutor feedback on mocks 3, 4, and 5. So this is the type of feedback, tutor feedback you'd receive. If you opt for the premium package, you can see how much, on a paragraph by paragraph basis, the type of feedback which we have provided. So throughout the entire answer script, you can see the type of feedback which we have provided. So this type of in-depth feedback is provided with the intention of ensuring that you really understand your shortcomings and you are in a position to overcome or work towards overcoming these shortcomings when conducting your preparations. So, and on top of that, mark allocations are provided on a subtask by subtask basis. And you can see a success rate. So the success rate indicates the subtasks in which your performance was not up to the required level of standard. So after receiving tutor feedback, rather than attempting the entire mock again, thereby wasting 3 hours of your time, you should simply focus on the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow and redevelop answer plans. Because as per the Cima examiner, you are getting marks for quality. So if you are to achieve the required level of quality, you need to work on your answer structuring or answer planning technique. So after receiving tutor feedback, focus on the subtasks in which your performance was low and redevelop answer plans. And after redeveloping answer plans, compare your fresh answer plans to the answer plans which we provide under the premium package. Then you are in a position to further understand what your shortcomings are. You are in a position to see whether there are any gaps between your fresh answer plan and the answer plans which we have provided to you. And at the very end, the total mark is provided, and general comments are also provided at the end of the answer script. So that's the type of feedback you'd receive under the premium package, and you'd also gain access to answer plans of all 5 mock exams. So you would have also already seen an answer plan because I've made them available under the free material. And on top of that, based on the answer plan of the free mock, I conducted the webinar, the previous webinar. So as you can see, the entire answer, rather than you having to go through pages and pages of suggested answers and try to understand how theoretical elements had been covered when developing the answer, rather than you struggling to understand application, you can easily understand how theoretical elements had been brought in, what you need to do when it comes to improving your application skills, and you can easily understand the logic behind each answer because the entire answer structure is easily visible. So this is a good mind map which we have developed focused on each of the 5 mock exams, or the answers of each of the 5 mock exams which we have developed. So once you have access to this, you can easily understand the logic behind the answer, the structure, how theories had been brought in, and what you need to do with regards to improving your application skills. So for all 5 mocks, you'd gain access to the answer plans, and you'd also gain access to 20 master classes. As I mentioned earlier, each mock exam carries 4 tasks. So 4 tasks into 5 mock exams comes up to 20 master classes in total. So in each master class, we are taking you through, or we are teaching you the logic behind each answer whilst teaching you theory and application skills. So if you want to learn theory and improve application skills, you definitely need to have access to the 20 master classes. So once you have access to all these resources, you can make sure that you achieve a first time pass. That's exactly why we provide a pass guarantee under the premium package. However, if you are to if you fail the exam after going for the premium package, which is highly unlikely, you'd still gain access to the premium package in your subsequent sitting free of charge. However, if you have to claim the pass guarantee, you have to fulfill these 3 requirements. You have to complete all 5 mock exams. If not, you are not in a position to cover the entire syllabus or conversant with how each syllabus area will be tested in your exam. Because as I told you earlier, when developing the 5 mock exams, we have made sure to cover the entire syllabus so that you will never see a fresh question or a question which was not covered within our mock exams. So in order to pass in your first sitting itself, you need to make sure that you attempt all 5 mock exams. And when attempting each mock exam, you have to develop original solutions. You are not expected to go through the master classes, the answer plans, or the suggested answers before attempting each mock exam. Rather, it's better, it's prudent to attempt a mock fresh rather than going through the answers. Attempt a mock on your own. Then you are in a position to really understand what your shortcomings are, and you can overcome these shortcomings by going through the suggested answers. After watching the master classes, you'd really understand what your shortcomings are. You'd really improve your theoretical knowledge and application skills. And once you receive tutor feedback, you'd further understand what your shortcomings are. So when you understand your shortcomings, you are in a position to work towards overcoming them. So the solutions need to be original. If not, you cannot claim the pass guarantee. And you need to meet the performance criteria, which is to achieve 40% or higher for mocks 3, 4, and 5. So why have we come up with this type of criteria? With the intention of ensuring that you are serious when attempting the last 3 mocks, because we are providing you with tutor feedback. So make full use of the tutor feedback which we provide. So in order to achieve this, you have to give your best shot when attempting mocks 3, 4, and 5. And if you fulfill these 3 requirements, as you can see, you will never fail the OCS exam. That's why we are providing pass guarantee for the premium package. So the premium package is priced at £649. You can pay it in 2 installments of £324 each on a monthly basis across 2 months. And on the other hand, if you pay in full, you stand a chance to save £100. If so, the package is just £549. So you can select your preferred package and purchase it directly via the website by clicking on either of these buttons. And if you're planning on attempting your exam in August, you can get a head start by investing now itself, because all products are available until the 31st of August 2024. And you can also gain access to the OCS study plan via the website itself. So let's go check the study plan. According to the study plan which we have developed, we are in week number 3. We are expected to attend webinar 4, which we have already done so far. Then within this week, you should attempt mock number 2 via the exam platform, watch the 4 master classes, and refer to the answer plans. So I as I mentioned earlier, 5 or 6 students, 3 to 4 students actually had already completed mock number 1 via the exam platform. If you had completed the mock, that's extremely good. Keep up the good work. Focus on mock 2 within this week. And if you're yet to start preparations, it's high time you do so now. You just have 4 weeks until your exam. You should not wait until the last moment to start preparations. If so, you would have to repeat your examination. So if you're planning to do your exam in May, you have to start work within this week, or else you would be scrambling for time. You won't have enough time to attempt the 5 mock exams. Even if you attempt 2 mock exams per week closer to the exam, you won't have time to significantly focus on your answering technique and improve it or overcome your shortcomings. So start preparations now itself. So that's what we offer. Having said that, we are moving on to the second part of today's webinar. Before we do, I'm going to open up for a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, you can raise them now. As I mentioned, certain students had already attempted mock number 1. So if you have encountered any questions or concerns about syllabus areas or application or whatever, you can raise these concerns now. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, folks, thank you very much for those questions. I hope I addressed all. So having said that, we are moving on to the second part of today's webinar, which is about highlighting what you need to do to, develop confidence before the examination. So first things first, you need to stick to a study plan, because if you are blindly trying to attempt mock exams without considering your daily responsibilities, because you might be running your own business, or you might be working within a certain company. So you have to whilst preparing for your Cima examination, you have to fulfill your daily responsibilities as well. So that's exactly why it's prudent for you to stick to a study plan. So with the intention of ensuring that you really know how to do it, know what to do on a weekly basis, we have developed a study plan for you. So I showed you the study plan for OCS, which can be accessed via our website itself. So keep track of your performance by going through the weekly tasks which are supposed to fulfill by referring to our study plan. And on top of that, via the dashboard, you have access to performance tracker. So simply click on my progress and select your course, OCS Premium. Where is it? Oh my God, it's here. Okay. So then you'd have access to your own performance dashboard, which gives you an indication about the type of content which you have already utilized and the type of content you are supposed to, refer to. And you can keep track of your video views as well, because everything is kept track of via this exam platform. And if you go for the premium package, I will be keeping not just the premium package, even those who had invested on the value pack, I will be keeping, I have access to your performance tracker. So I'll be keeping tabs on what you are doing on a weekly basis. If you're falling behind, I'm going to be pestering you via WhatsApp. Okay. So stick to the study plan, utilize the services which we have offered, such as the performance tracker. And if you keep track of your performance on a weekly basis and attempt a mock exam per week, then you are in a position to achieve sure success at your OCS exam. And stick to a routine in the upcoming 4 weeks. As I mentioned earlier, you just have a month before your examination. So you have to, it's prudent to stick to a routine if you're not already sticking to a routine. So it's better to wake up at a predetermined time and sleep at a predetermined time, so that your bodily functions are working appropriately. Because if you are not physically fit, you won't be mentally fit. If you're not mentally fit, you cannot be successful at the OCS exam, because this is a highly stressful examination. So if there are other stressors which are affecting you as an individual, then you cannot succeed at the OCS exam. So with this in mind, in order to be physically fit, you need to wake up and sleep at a certain a predetermined time, and work on your daily meal intake. Again, have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner at predetermined times as well. If so, you'd fall asleep at a stipulated time, and you will have the ability to wake up at a stipulated time. So it's better to stick to a routine, at least in the upcoming 4 weeks. And when practicing mock exams, you are supposed to attempt mock exams or practice mock exams under exam conditions before the exams when conducting your preparations. That's what the Cima examiner had asked us to do as well. So when practicing mock exams, practice each mock under simulated exam conditions via our mock exam platform. If you had purchased the value pack, you won't have access to the mock exam platform yet. When attempting the mocks on your own, do it under exam conditions. Time it, sit in one place, and attempt the entire mock in one go within 3 hours. Thereby utilize, then you'd know how to manage stress which you encounter when you are trying to attempt a mock exam by allocating 3 hours of your time. And attempt the mocks in isolation, devoid of any type of disturbance. I know for a fact that if you have kids, it's not too easy to do this, but try to work something out. Lock yourself in for 3 hours and attempt the mock on your own, because that's exactly what you do at your real exam. And when attempting each of your mocks, you are trying to fulfill 2 objectives. Objective number 1 is to gain your grips with the answering and time management technique, because these things are essential. If so, you'd come up with high quality answers, well structured answers, and you'd never run out of time. So you need to keep practicing your answering and time management techniques. And the second objective of attempting mocks is to encounter exam stress. Then you'd know what to do when you are faced with exam stress at your real examination. So stick to the exam technique routine. 5 minutes should be allocated towards reading the scenario, 20 minutes should be allocated towards developing the answer plan, and 20 minutes should be allocated towards expanding the answer plan or typing out your fully fledged answer. So although I'm asking you to spend 20 minutes to develop the answer plan, when you are trying these techniques for the first time, you'd take 30 to 40 minutes to develop the answer plan. Don't get demotivated. That's totally fine. By the time you are at mock number 3, you'd see a significant improvement in your time management and answer planning skills. Okay, so keep practicing these techniques when attempting the 5 mock exams. So that's how you can develop confidence, because at your examination, if you had done your homework, you'd feel confident. And if you had worked on improving your skill set, if you had worked on improving your answering technique, if you had worked on improving your time management skills, if you had worked on improving your theoretical knowledge and application skills, then you have nothing to worry at your examination. So if you are to be confident, devoid of any uncertainties at your examination, attempt the 5 mocks under exam conditions, practicing answering and time management technique. That's the only thing which you are expected to do when conducting preparations. Everything else is handled by us. Okay, so that's why we are providing a pass guarantee, because if you watch the master classes, you can easily learn theory and improve application skills. Your real responsibility, although we have allocated 7 hours of study time per week, your real responsibility is just finding 3 hours at a stretch and attempting a mock per week. Everything else is handled by us. So do these things before the exam in order to gain a higher level of confidence. And when attempting mock exams, you will encounter exam stress. So, or you will encounter stress because you are sitting in one place for 3 hours at a stretch, and you are, on a continuous basis, fighting with time, at the same time, replicating or trying to implement answering technique. You are expected to read through the scenario, understand it, understand the requirement clearly, then work on your answer planning. Then once you have developed the answer plans, you have to type out the extended answer. Then again, when you move on to task number 2, you have to repeat the same process. Repeat the process in tasks 3 and 4 as well. This is not an easy task. So when doing this, you will definitely encounter extreme levels of stress. So how are you supposed to, or what are you supposed to do to overcome this stress? You are supposed to stick to the answering technique. So when you are attempting the first 2 mock exams, you'd feel a lot of fatigue because you are doing something new for the first time. You will never manage your time. That's totally fine. Keep moving forward. Stick to the answering technique, and always think, when developing your answers, always think that you are the finance officer of Kanann. If so, you are in a position to really develop a scenario where you are working for this company. If you're working for this company, if you think that you are working for this company, you would come up with the best type of evaluations and recommendations. And when you experience stress when attempting the mock exams, what are you expected to do? Drink some water, keep yourself hydrated. This will help you immensely with regards to managing your stress levels. However, the most important thing to do is to focus on your breathing, because when you are under stress, there's this certain part of our brain which is known as the amygdala, which starts functioning. So this amygdala gives us the stress fight or flight response, or the stress response. So when we are experiencing stress, all other parts of our brain will stop functioning. However, the amygdala will kick in. When the amygdala kicks in, you will take all the emotional decisions rather than taking rational decisions. So when it comes to rational decision making, your prefrontal cortex will start working. However, if you're experiencing stress, your prefrontal cortex will cease working and the amygdala will start functioning. And if the amygdala is functioning, you won't come up with appropriate answers. You will encounter extreme levels of stress. So your response will be to come up, develop answers as fast as possible without thinking them through, because you'd try to physically, you'd try to finish off the exam as fast as possible, so that you experience some type of comfort after the examination. So how are you supposed to control or switch off your amygdala? You can only switch off your amygdala by focusing on your breathing. So what are you expected to do if you are experiencing extreme levels of stress? you are supposed to close your eyes and breathe slowly for 2 minutes. You might think that you are wasting your time. You just have 45 minutes at your disposal, and you might think that I'm asking you to waste 2 minutes of it. That's totally fine. Even if you allocate 2 minutes to focus on your breathing, if the amygdala is shut off, then it's going to be extremely beneficial for you. Those who had failed the exam previously might have encountered this. When you are under exam stress, you cannot you encounter it leads to panic, and panic leads to brain freeze. Brain freeze is a scenario where you cannot think something properly. Even if you read something, nothing goes into your head. When you're trying to develop answers, you are stuck in the same place. So that happens when your prefrontal cortex is not working, because if you are to be involved with rational decision making, or if you have to conduct the best type of evaluations or provide the best type of recommendations, you have to utilize your prefrontal cortex, which carries out rational decision making. So if your prefrontal cortex is not working, instead the amygdala is working, definitely you will experience brain freeze. So rather than worrying about it and getting stressed again, what are you supposed to do? You need to know, okay, my amygdala is in full swing. I need to switch it off. How can you do it? By closing your eyes and focusing on your breathing. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Focus on the entry and exit points when you are inhaling and exhaling. When you're focusing on one single thing, then the amygdala will shut off, because your brain thinks that you are relaxing. It's as if you are sleeping when you are focusing on your breathing. So if that is the case, then you can refocus on your exam and start moving forward. You will definitely experience exam stress, because take it from me, the objective of the examiner is to test your theoretical knowledge and application skills. On top of that, the examiner also tries to figure out whether you can manage stress. Because as a finance officer, if you are not in a position to manage stress, you are not fit to carry out your responsibilities at work. So the Cima examination is structured in a way that one fine day you might become a CEO of a company, or a CFO of a company, or you'd become an entrepreneur and start your own business. So with that in mind, Cima had developed their study system. So if you crumble under pressure, you cannot become an entrepreneur, you cannot become a CEO or a CFO of any given company. So if you are to be successful in your career, as well as if you are to start your own business and be successful at it, you have to know how to manage stress. So you'd encounter stress at your exam. If you know how to overcome the stress and keep moving forward, then you will win. Okay, so how are you supposed to overcome this type of stress? Main thing is to focus on your breathing for 2 minutes, then keep moving forward. Then 15 minutes later, if you encounter brain freeze again, close your eyes, focus on your breathing and move forward. Because once you do this on a continuous basis, when you're attempting these things in the first two mock exams, you won't be comfortable. You won't really succeed. You won't really manage your time. But when you keep practicing these things over and over again, 20 times over, when attempting the 5 mock exams, then when you encounter exam stress at your real exam, you'd know what to do. Rather than being clueless about what to do with exam stress, it's better to encounter these problems before your exam, and then focus on steps to overcome these stresses as much as possible. And also, I would actually ask you to take a 2-minute break between tasks. So as you know, your exam consists of 4 main tasks, so 4 main sections. So after the first 45 minutes are up, take a break. I'm not asking you to stand and go somewhere else, because you're not supposed to do it at your examination. Just close your eyes and focus on your breathing for 2 minutes and start moving forward pertinent to task number 2. Because your attention span, we all are human beings, and our attention span is just for the first 45 minutes. After that, we cannot if you're trying to focus on something, it leads us to extreme levels of stress. So in order to overcome these stressful experiences, what we are supposed to do is, after attempting the first task, take a 2-minute break, close your eyes, focus on your breathing, then you are recalibrating your brain. It's as if you are functioning with a fresh brain once more when you focus on your breathing. Then start attempting mock number 2. And once mock number 2, task number 2 rather, once task number 2 is done, again refocus on your breathing, then start task 3. If you practice these things when attempting the 5 mock exams, you are in a position to champion answering technique, time management technique, and you will be a champion at managing exam stress as well. And you can utilize these techniques which I've highlighted in your day-to-day lives. Whenever you are feeling stressed, close your eyes, focus on your breathing. Most people, what they do is when they're experiencing stress, they'd go out and smoke a cigarette rather than smoking a cigarette. So it's just like you are focusing on something, focusing on your breathing. When you're smoking a cigarette, you are focusing on that, which becomes a distraction from the stress which you're experiencing. So rather than smoking a cigarette, simply focus on your breathing. And if you do, you are in a position to overcome your stress. And if you keep practicing these things, you can overcome exam stress at your real exam as well. Okay. And when conducting preparations in your upcoming 4 weeks, avoid deflections. Don't go through the exam blueprint, because we have already covered all elements which are covered within the exam blueprint. It only leads to stresses. So don't go through the exam blueprint. Don't rely on predictions as well, because as I've mentioned earlier, you cannot predict the type of scenarios which can be thrown at your real exam. Instead, you can only train yourself to face any type of syllabus element, or you can, when attempting the mock exams, you are in a position to be conversant with how each syllabus area can be tested at your real exam. So solely focus on the mock exams when it comes to conducting your preparations. Do not rely on any predictions. Do not try to memorize anything, because if you try to memorize, you are not fit to play the role of a finance officer. And excessive industry analysis is a killer as well. So you need not do these things. Simply refer to the industry analysis slides which we have developed, so that you can easily get an understanding about what this industry is within 15 to 20 minutes of your time. Misguided use of past papers. This is another issue um, which should be avoided, because I've seen students going through past exam variants, and based on them, they try to conduct their preparations, which is fruitless, because simply because of the fact that previous exam variants are based on different companies. So a previous pre-seen document is based on a totally different industry, and the internal dynamics are totally different to that of what's highlighted within your pre-seen, and the financial statements depict a totally different picture. So based on these internal, external, and financial dynamics, the suggested answers as well as the questions are built. So if you go through suggested answers or questions which are relevant to a totally different company, and based on it, if you try to learn theory and improve application skills, you will never pass your OCS exam. So rather than wasting your time, if you're planning on attempting your exam in May, it's best to invest on exam standard and pre-seen specific mock exams and study material. And information overload is a killer. When you are closer to the exam, when you are experiencing stress, you'd try to do everything under the sun. You'd try to go through study texts, your past notes. You'd try to get in touch with your friends and conduct group studies. All these things are deflections which you need to avoid, because you just have 4 weeks at your disposal. Rather than trying to do too much, be smart and focus on what is crucial and relevant. So that's exactly why you need to stick to our study plan. Okay, so as per the study plan, on a weekly basis, you just need to find 7 hours of study time per week, out of which 3 hours should be allocated towards attempting the mock exam. The remaining 4 hours should be allocated towards going through a set of master classes. So we have covered all elements. On a weekly basis, if you keep working, a week before your exam, you are simply supposed to refer to the answer plans of all 5 mock exams, reread the annotated pre-seen, and attend the final Q&A. So when all the other students are trying to attempt mock exams, trying to go through their study notes and whatnot, experiencing extreme levels of stress, you are relaxing. If you are relaxing a week before your exam, definitely you are gonna pass your OCS exam. So by doing these things, you can achieve a sure pass. So students who stick to this study process, which is extremely simple, you just need to attempt a mock per week. If you stick to the study process, when your pass mark is 80, you can gain more than 100 marks. So that's exactly what this student achieved in the previous sitting. This individual achieved 103 marks, and we have, made sure that we, help world prize winners as well, or created world prize winners as well, especially by ensuring that they stick to our study plan. Okay, and you might be attempting the exam at home. If so, go to this link. I will share this link via the WhatsApp group as well. This will give you access to the exam platform, the Pearson VUE system, which you'd use at your real examination. So, go through it, get your bearings with the technicalities behind the exam platform, rather than doing it at the, a week or two before the exam. Do it right now itself. Okay. Any questions, folks? I'm gonna pause the recording once more. Any questions? All right, seems like there aren't any questions. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. Simply go to the contact area and type out your question, and our admin staff will assist you. You can always email us at info@study@tcs.com, or drop us a message on this number. And I invite you guys to follow us on our YouTube, our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok. Via the YouTube channel, you can gain access to the recorded versions of each of the webinars and workshops which we are conducting. And on top of that, by gaining access to the TikTok channel, you'd have access to pre-seen mind map, which indicates the most important points which are highlighted within your pre-seen. So on a continuous basis, on a daily basis, actually, if you keep watching these 3 TikTok videos, which is just going to take 5 to 7 minutes of your time, you are in a position to easily remember what's highlighted within the pre-seen when you are attempting your real exam. So having said that, it brings us to the end of the 4th webinar conducted in lieu of the upcoming OCS examination. I hope you gained something out of this session, and I hope you'd join us next week when we are conducting our first workshop. Thank you very much, and take care.